In 1976, a kid could leave the house right after breakfast and not be seen until the streetlights came on. And nobody worried. He had no phone. His mother had no way to reach him. She did not need one. The whole block was watching. Miss Ella on the porch, the man washing his Buick, the old woman in the second-floor window who never missed a thing. Every grown person had silent permission to feed him, correct him, and send him home before dark. He did not belong to just his mother. He belonged to all of them. That kind of childhood does not exist anymore. We grew up in something most kids will never have. Not because of money, most of us did not have it. Because of people. Adults everywhere, watching, feeding, correcting, claiming us, kin or not. The block was a single living thing. The whole house ran on rhythms nobody wrote down. It looked like fun, and it was. But underneath was a village doing the most serious work there is. We set it down between the moving vans and the cell phones, and we have been quietly poorer for it. Number 14 is a sound. One sound. The second I describe it, you will be 8 years old again. Number 8 is something every one of us drank that you have not thought about in 20 years, and your mouth is about to water anyway. And number 3, the one that ran the whole summer and turned strangers' kids into your cousins, is something no child alive today gets to do. We did it every day without knowing how lucky we were. These 25 things were never just about being a kid. They were about belonging to a place and a people so completely that you never once felt alone. That was the whole gift, and most of us did not know we held it. Hit that subscribe button. Let's count down 25 things only black kids who grew up in the 1970s will remember. Number 25, the streetlight curfew. Nobody owned a watch. The streetlights were the clock. You played from breakfast until the corner light buzzed on. The second it woke, every kid scattered like the ground caught fire. You ran. The wrong side of that light meant something at home. That light was no curfew. It was 100 adults agreeing every child outside belonged to all of them. By the 70s, kids 1,000 miles apart described the same scramble. The watchful porch came north in the Great Migration. The streetlight was not a rule. It was the village saying goodnight at once. Number 24. The one phone on the wall. It hung in the kitchen and belonged to the whole house. The cord stretched to the hallway if you pulled it. You knew not to answer it grown. When Mama was on it, you did not exist. That phone taught a patience no child has now. You waited your turn and took messages on an envelope. Shared phones and party lines were common all decade. A second line was a luxury few families chose. One phone, one cord, the whole family talking through it. Number 23, layaway at the store. Christmas did not come from a credit card. It came in payments. Your mother picked the toy in October but left it in the store. She paid a few dollars a week, your name on the tag. By December, the last payment was made. You saw the gift, never the struggle. She had carried it 2 months on a tight budget. Layaway was the backbone of working-class Christmas before easy credit. It ran on trust and discipline. It was not a coat. It was 3 months of a mother's promise. Number 22, the front room nobody could enter. The good room, kept perfect for company that came twice a year. The couch wore clear plastic that stuck to your legs. A candy dish that was decoration, not candy. Figurines dusted weekly, touched by no one. That room was not about furniture. For a woman who cleaned houses all week, it was the one space that was hers. The formal good room was a fixture in homes that had survived hard times. It carried the pride of people who earned every stick of furniture. She was not keeping you out. She was keeping one room the world could not take. Number 21, Sunday best. Clothes you wore one day a week and did not breathe too hard in. The outfit was laid across the chair Saturday night. You changed back the second church let out. The shoes pinched, and you knew what it cost. Those clothes were not vanity. They were facing the congregation, looking like your family had its act together. Dressing your finest for service was rooted in the black church. It was a weekly act of dignity. It was not an outfit. It was your family's pride pressed for one morning. Number 20, the hot comb on the stove. Saturday night, the kitchen turned into a salon and you held still. The comb heated on the eye of the stove. You heard the grease sizzle. You learned not to move because moving was how you got burned. That ritual was love that did not announce itself. Your mother gave up her own night, unthanked. The hot comb was a Saturday night fixture for generations. It passed mother to daughter as skill and ceremony. It looked like a chore. It was a mother's hands in your hair for hours. Number 19, the deep freezer in the garage. It hummed in the corner and held the family's security. When meat went on sale, your mother bought in bulk, and the freezer swallowed it. Popsicles in paper cups, greens put up from summer. That freezer was no appliance. It was a wall against the lean weeks, kept full on purpose. The chest freezer became a working-class staple. Families stretched budgets by buying in bulk. It was not a freezer. It was a family making sure tomorrow had something to eat. Number 18, being sent to the store. Before you could see over the counter, you walked there alone with a folded dollar. You said the list back so you would not forget. You handed over the dollar and carried the change home without losing a penny. The man behind the counter knew your name. That errand was how a child learned he was trusted. It said, without words, he was old enough to count on. The store run was a near universal childhood job. The shopkeeper was part of the village. It was not an errand. It was the grown world trusting you with something real. Pattern break, emotional monologue. Here is what nobody warns you about. The neighborhood does not announce it is leaving. It goes one family, one closed store, one past elder at a time, until you drive back one day and no one is left who knew you as a child. The candy lady is gone. Miss Ella's porch is empty. The lot where you played is a parking lot now. We did not lose it in one event. We lost it in 1,000 quiet ones, while we grew up and moved away for the better job in the better neighborhood. And a child stopped belonging to a whole block of people who would die before letting anything happen to him. We cannot drive back in, but we can remember it out loud so the kids coming up know it was real. Number 17, the whooping everybody understood. The same in every house, and every child knew the rules. You knew the look that came first. You knew "wait till we get home" was worse than anything in public. Any grown person who caught you wrong could deliver a piece, then call your mother. We do not romance it. Underneath was parents raising children to survive, a world that punished a black child's mistakes harder than anybody's. This came up through generations who knew the stakes of a child stepping wrong. It was strict because the world was stricter. Nobody called it love. It just was, in the only language some weeks left them. Number 16, the spades table. At every gathering there was a card table, and the grown folks played like the rent was due. Cards came down hard enough to rattle the table. Loud talking that sounded like a fight and was joy. A renege, you did not commit. That table was where the grown folks put down the week. The job, the boss, the bills, all left at the door. Spades held a particular place in black social life. It passed down at kitchen tables and cookouts, played for life. It looked like a card game. It was grown folks putting the hard week down. Number 15, the record player in the front room. Music came from a console the size of furniture. You watched the needle drop and heard the crackle before the first note. You learned every word to records your parents played while they cleaned. You handled the vinyl by the edges. That music was the family's shared heartbeat. It tied the generations together through the same songs. The home stereo console was a centerpiece of the 1970s household. It carried a whole culture forward. It was not just music. It was the whole family in one room, listening. Number 14, the ice cream truck. Here is the sound. The second you hear it, you are 8 again. That tinny song drifted from a block away. Every child froze, bolted inside, then bolted back with whatever change they found. You stood there with coins sweating in your fist. What it really sold was a whole block of kids running the same direction at once. The ice cream truck was a summer institution. Its jingle is one of the most remembered sounds of the era. That song was not an ad. It was the whole block running toward summer. Number 13, Vaseline on everything. A big tub in the bathroom that did about 40 jobs. Before church, your face got shined. Ashy knees, a scrape, chapped lips, a stuck zipper. Somebody reached for that blue tub. That tub meant something big. It was a mother sending her child out presentable, no matter the budget. The jar of petroleum jelly was a near-universal staple. It went from grooming to first aid to getting ready for company. It was not just Vaseline. It was a mother making sure you walked out looking loved. Number 12, the encyclopedia set. A row of matching books in the front room, bought on a payment plan. A man came to the door selling them, and your parents paid them off over a year. You did homework out of them and read whatever fell open. Those books were a BET on you. Parents denied an education spent money they barely had so you could have the whole world in matching covers. The door-to-door encyclopedia set was a symbol in striving households. It was an investment in a future the parents would not live. It was not just books. It was your parents betting a year of payments on your future. Number 11, Saturday morning chores. Before any cartoons, the whole house cleaned together, and you did not argue. The radio went on. You dusted, you swept, you beat the rug out back. The house smelled like cleaning and breakfast at once. Those chores were not punishment. They were how a child learned to carry part of the load. The Saturday morning cleaning was a fixed ritual. It ran the same way in millions of houses at once. It looked like work. It was a family caring for its one shared place. Pattern break, modern comparison. In 1977, a kid who wanted a snack walked to a neighbor's window, said hello by name, handed over a quarter, waited his turn, and walked home. 5 human exchanges for 1 frozen cup. Today, that same kid taps a screen, a stranger leaves a bag on the porch, and nobody says a word. We call that convenience. But look what got cut. The neighbor, the name, the waiting, the manners, the face. We did not just change how a child gets a snack. We removed every person he used to meet on the way and wondered why kids feel so alone. Number 10, the candy lady's window. A woman on nearly every block sold candy out her front window. No sign, no register, just notebook paper taped to the screen and a freezer full of frozen cups. You waited your turn and said please and thank you. That window was small business, child care, and neighborhood watch in one. She watched the block off dimes and trust. The candy lady was a real fixture of black urban life. She ran a corner economy where stores were far or unfriendly. It was never just candy, it was a neighbor who knew what your quarter was worth. Number 9, because I said so. The end of every argument, and every adult on the block could say it. You asked why, you got those 4 words, no appeal. Any grown person, kin or not, could stop you cold. It sounds harsh now, but it came from parents without time to explain while keeping a child fed, clothed, and safe. This unquestioned authority was shared across the neighborhood. Every grown person carried real standing. It was not just a phrase, it was the whole block agreeing grown folks were to be minded. Number 8, the Kool-Aid in the pitcher. Here is the one your mouth is watering for. A glass pitcher mixed by hand. The packet cost almost nothing. Your mother stirred it with a long spoon while the kids hovered. The pitcher was empty by dinner. That pitcher was how a household on a budget gave its kids something sweet for pennies. The hand-mixed drink in the big pitcher was a staple. Nearly every kid remembers it by taste. It was not just a drink. It was a mother making summer taste like something on no money. Number 7, the REC Center. The gym was unlocked, the door open, and there was always somewhere free to go. You walked there after school, a court, somebody running things, a crew you saw every day. It kept you out of trouble before a parent got home. That open door was a real safety net. It caught the after-school hours that could have gone any direction. The rec center was vital in black communities of the 1970s. It was a free space with adults who watched over you. It was not just a gym. It was a door that stayed open when a kid had nowhere else to go. Number 6, the games you made up. Nobody bought a thing. The street was the equipment. 2 girls turned a rope while a third jumped in without missing a beat. Hopscotch in whatever chalk you found. Tag across 3 yards. Those games were an education nobody called one. You learned to take a turn and lose without quitting. Hand clap games and jump rope rhymes were an oral tradition. They were older than the children playing them. It looked like a game. It was a whole childhood invented out of nothing. Pattern break, research reveal. Researchers who study childhood keep reaching the same uncomfortable conclusion. What made kids resilient was not enrichment programs or screens or scheduled activities. It was unstructured outdoor play, a web of trusted adults, and the freedom to roam and solve their own problems. In other words, the streetlight childhood, the block full of watching grandmothers, the walk to the store alone. The finding modern science keeps reaching is the one our grandmothers reached without a study. A child raised by a whole neighborhood grows up steadier than one raised by a schedule. They were not behind the times. They were ahead of the research. Number 5, church that ran all day. Sunday service had no end time, and you settled in for the long haul. The choir, the sermon that built and built, the part where somebody caught the spirit. You sat in your Sunday best, watched by a grandmother who could correct you from 3 pews away. That long Sunday was the center the week turned around. It was meeting hall, support system, and the one place grown folks could be somebody. The black church was the institutional heart of the community. The long service was a cornerstone of family life. It was not just church. It was where the whole community stood up and was somebody. Number 4, hand-me-downs. Your clothes came down through a chain of cousins. The good coat went from oldest to youngest through every child between. You knew which shirt had been 3 kids before yours. When you outgrew it, it went down the line. Those clothes were not about going without. They were a family taking care of its own. Passing clothing down through cousins was standard in larger families. It was a quiet system of care. It was not just a coat. It was a family taking care of the next one in line. Number 3, playing outside all summer. The one that ran the whole season and turned strangers' kids into your cousins. School let out, and the block was yours. You were out from morning to dark with a pack of kids, half not related to you and all of them family. By August, they were closer than blood. What it gave you was 100 relationships no adult arranged. The block raised you alongside every kid on it. The free-range summer was the defining experience of a 1970s childhood. It was unstructured play experts now envy. It was not just playing, it was a block of kids raising each other all summer. Number 2, grandmama's cooking. A table that was always full and always a plate for you. She cooked from no recipe and it came out perfect every time. The greens cooked all day. The house smelled like Sunday for hours. That cooking was love you could taste. A full plate was the truest "I love you" some families ever said. This food carried the history of Black Southern cooking up through the Great Migration. The recipes passed hand to hand. It was not just dinner. It was a grandmother saying everything she felt the only way she knew. Number 1, you went outside. That is it. The simplest one on the list and the one we miss most. You woke up, ate, and stayed gone all day, and the day raised you. No screen, no schedule, no fear. You built forts, broke up fights, and learned every kid on the block by heart. The outside was yours, and the block held you without being asked. We did not know it was the greatest gift we would get. We just called it summer. That freedom rested on the village underneath it. You roamed with no fear only because 100 adults you never thanked kept every child safe. It was not just going outside, it was a whole neighborhood holding the door open so you could run free. None of this needed money. We were not rich, a lot of us the opposite, but we were not poor in the ways that break a child, because we had a block full of people who claimed us, a kitchen that always had a plate, and a childhood that belonged to the neighborhood instead of a calendar. The grown folks built that world on tired feet and thin wallets and made it look like nothing. It did not just happen. They held it together with their bare hands every day. The blocks scattered and the elders passed, and a lot of those rooms are gone now. But the thing they did is not lost forever. It is waiting for somebody to remember it out loud and hand it back. We were loved by a whole neighborhood. Not all kids get that. We did.